Welcome to a special edition of BeerNet Radio. Jen, your dreams all coming true as promised.
As promised, it is.
So we thought we'd do more segments where it's just us talking about what we think about the news, kind of analyzing, and we're calling it the warehouse. Maybe the Wednesday warehouse.
The Wednesday warehouse.
That might tie us too closely to a deadline.
It could be like the Thrinsday warehouse or the Friendsday warehouse.
We could do
We have enough deadlines.
Yeah, oh shit, it's Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We haven't recorded the Wednesday warehouse yet. Yeah, I think we should keep it more open. All right, so what struck you about the last, couple of weeks?
I mean, obviously, the great convergence continues. So that would be Martinelli buying Quality Beverage. And, Quality Beverage has AB, Constellation, Sierra Nevada, who else? I mean, a lot of other big craft, Yingling, New Belgium, Loverboy, all that. It's crazy because, it seems like this deal happened kind of quickly. We had one source tell us that they heard that the quality team was called in for like an emergency meeting, and some of them thought, oh my God, we're gonna debrief and powwow on this Bud Light thing, on this Bud Light backlash. Well, it turns out, no, quite different.
Quite different, yeah.
But yeah, the strategy is interesting. I mean, so far as I know, they don't have any infrastructure in Massachusetts for beer. It's mostly a wine and spirits wholesaler. They're like a top 6 wine and spirits wholesaler in the country. So we'll see if the deal gets supplier approval. I've reached out to a lot of the suppliers. One of them said that quality hasn't even informed them yet. Again, might be like a fast to force. Well, they're informed now, yes.
We'll use Beer versus Daily for that very thing.
Right.
You just nailed the key is, will A be approved? A couple of things. First of all, Massachusetts is a tough, especially outside of Boston, is a tough market to make money just as a beer distributor because it's rural and there's no chains and it's expensive. The labor's, there's a lot of reasons. And so I'm wondering if maybe AB would let that one go because it does make sense to have beer, wine, and spirits sold together. That's just my take.
But here's the question I had for Jen earlier is Martinelli has no allegiance to any beer brand, right?
I don't think so.
Why would they pick one with an AB house when AB has been like the bigger stickler on deals than Molson Coors,
You mean like match and redirect type thing?
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like AB kind of has you kind of have to go through more hoops or they don't rubber stamp anything. I'm not saying Molson Coors does.
Right. Well, and to that point too, I mean, could the AB branch in what is it, Boston? That's where the branch is, right? Cool. Is that part of this at all? Like, what sort of strategy is going on, and do we think AB is going to divest of more branches? And
so I think you again, brilliant. You hit it right on the head. That one is, will AB approve the deal, and a corollary to that, or maybe superseding that, is this in AB's plan? Like you said, AB has a plan,
right?
And if this isn't part of the plan, it's not going to get rubber stamped. And I think if this is part of an AB plan to divest of a branch, then maybe Martinelli is the right party for that. The other thing is that if AB wants to keep the branch, that's another incentive to have Martinelli because nobody wants to be next to a branch.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a tough market. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll know pretty soon, I think, whether this is in AB's plan or not. I don't see any reason why they would block it, but I also see, what am I trying to say? I see reasons why they would block it, and I also see equal weight reasons why they wouldn't. So whatever that's worth, which is exactly 0.
But well, we'll know in early summer when it's supposed to close. But another interesting point, I think, or angle is if you look at branches in other parts of the country, if AB does want to divest of them, who would potentially acquire them? I mean, could they potentially be wine and spirits wholesalers that acquire those branches? Right? I mean, it could maybe some sort of test balloon. I don't know.
It does. I mean, there's always chatter that Southern California could be in play, LA, San Diego. You're right. Who would buy them? It could be private equity, like Redwood. Could be things we don't even have heard of yet. I think AB likes to keep all of those options in play. Or Wine and Spirits House. or it could be
Eagle
Eagle.
Rock.
Yeah, Eagle Rock. Yeah, thank you.
Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle. So it's a moving target, right?
Yeah.
What is the value of an AB branch, though? Because I think what's gone on in California has really kind of diminished the value because the AB distributors that have lost Constellation, Olympic Eagle says it's price it as a Hindenburg event, saying like we're fucked if we don't have Constellation. Right. And they still have AB, but that's still how they describe it. I mean, and they still have craft brands, but if you're stuck with nothing but AB brands, I'm just kind of wondering.
Well, especially on the coast.
Yeah, California is.
In the Midwest where they have high share, in the Southeast, it's not really a problem. Right. But going back, it's why Miller and Coors distributors originally merged. They couldn't hack it on their own. Miller fought it. Coors fought it for years until they finally didn't, and they realized this is inevitable. And you wonder if AB and Constellation are going to end up on that path where eventually both companies will be like, we got to live together in certain markets.
Yeah, but Constellation wants that less than AB wants that, right?
I mean, I guess so. I think they both don't want it, but it's kind of like Molson and Coors didn't want it either. But I mean, you can't have one distributor markets.
Yeah.
The government's not allowed, even if you could.
Apparently, we have to have competition.
So the industry works best when both distributors are near 50 share. For my first half of my career in the industry, it was lopsided in favor of AB. And the Molson Coors in general, unless you're, in Milwaukee or something, had half the share of AB, and it was tough for those guys. And then they started just bringing on all these companion brands. Miller and Coors merged, and then you saw 50 share each in most markets. And when you get that, the distributorship values go way up, and I think that's another reason why we've seen their values go up, and up, because you just make a lot of money at 50 share. The difference between 50 share and 30 share is the difference between what, Jordan? Chicken salad and chicken shit. Okay? It's a big distinction. Do you see what I'm going? See what I'm...
Yes.
So anyway, enough ranting. What else are we going to talk about?
I think there's one just kind of going from the convergence is spirits from beer suppliers, putting them in a really sticky situation.
Absolutely.
And every time they come out with a new spirit, like this new bourbon, all these distributors complain about, hey, we're not getting that. We're not getting this. And I think it's some suppliers are trying to get out in front of it, like Mark Anthony, where they just said up front, okay, look, ABV below this is going to you. ABV above this is going to wine and spirits. And that's a uniform approach, but the BevAlc legislation isn't uniform. And so in some states that works and some states that doesn't. And you look at a state like Indiana, in Indiana, beer and spirits can't be in the same house together. And so now there's beer wholesalers that are kind of behind this push to try and change the legislation to at least get in on low proof spirit, basically spirits, RTDs, 15% ABV and under.
Right.
But White Claw has already rolled out vodka soda with spirits distributors. If this legislation gets passed, the thing about it is Reyes is in that state. So there's a good chance that, they might shift over to Reyes, as will Truly vodka soda. But, I mean, Mark Anthony still has to work with these spirits distributors for this the foolproof.
White Claw vodka.
Yeah.
Same thing with Boston Beer with their Beam Suntory products, the Truly vodka and the Twisted Tea vodka. So, I mean, it's just a really sticky situation. And I think if that legislation does get passed, it will be very, very fascinating to see what suppliers go where, see their moves or lack thereof.
It sounds like, Jordan, that feelings are going to get hurt.
It definitely does.
The feelings are there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings, Jen, in this industry. And there already are. Yeah. And in a state where it's legal, I think, a Molson Coors, for instance, they should give the beer house the first take at it if they want it, if they're licensed, it seems a little short-sighted just to get maybe a little better execution with a wine and spirits house, but now your relationship with your bread and butter beer house is tainted. I don't know.
Well, and you're totally right, because that's the gripe that the Indiana beer wholesalers were kind of throwing out to the legislators is we've carried these brands for decades, and they feel like they've earned dibs on whatever their supplier partners come out with, So
Yeah, I see where they're coming from.
Well, and that's interesting because that's an Indiana specific dynamic, right? But we also, and you mentioned it, Jordan, we also reported on the Barman 1873 deal from Molson Coors Whiskey Co. And the expanded footprint also for Five Trail. And it was interesting to me because, okay, so now they're going to Colorado, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky. MO is Montana, right, guys?
It's Missouri.
Missouri. I always miss, I guess Montana is MT.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
duly noted. New York, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and Wyoming. And we reported on this week, and then I did a little more digging, and I asked, MC, like, well, who are you sending this through? Is it going to be your beer wholesalers, or is it going to be spirits wholesalers? And, the response was, oh, it's going to be a mix. And I guessed breakthrough, right? Ding, ding, ding. And when we wrote that, we got some truth squatters write in and say, well, hey, they compete with Molson Coors in some markets like St. Louis. But we've since learned too that Capital Reyes will get it in Austin, and of course, like Andrews and Faust will get it in the rest of Texas, and I think Reyes is going to get it in Tennessee too. But it's interesting because obviously a lot of those guys also have Sazerac, right? So you've got these crossed lines of some malt producers with their spirits plays going to their beer guys, but in a lot of cases going to the wine and spirits guys, and they're gonna have to start picking a lane, right? I don't know. Or maybe it's all going to be like Swiss cheese. It's going to be like every which way.
Well, you're right. I mean, if you would think picking a lane would be the most efficient, easiest, least resistant path. Therefore, everybody goes the other way.
Yeah,
right. I don't know why but maybe we just don't have all the data. To me, simplicity just would trump any kind of tiny extra edge in whatever market you think you're suffering in.
And where it's legal, most beer distributors now have liquor licenses, right? Because their suppliers have done all of this. So yeah, if I'm a beer distributor, I'm like, really? Especially with the overtures that have been made. And then Jordan, when you were mentioning earlier about the Mark Anthony, but I forget if they told us why. Like, did they ever explain exactly why?
Did they, Harry?
I mean, they didn't explain why, except to say that we felt this was the fairest way.
Yeah.
And that way, because I think they kind of mentioned at their meeting that they want to be partners with both sides and they don't want to piss either side off. And they value that more than, I guess, what kind of Molson Coors is doing, it, which is piecemealing it based on market. I mean, it sounds like I'm criticizing Molson Coors. I guess I am, but I mean, there are reasons to do that because each market is so different. And if you have a plan or some kind of strategy and you want to design each market around that strategy, I get that. I'm just questioning whether it's worth
pissing off people.
Undermining their trust too, which is, with wholesalers is very important.
Yeah, it did seem like they explained why, other than just to get in front of this kind of tense situation. And it makes sense. Wholesalers seemed pretty okay with it at the meeting.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think there's value in getting ahead of it and just saying, hey, this is this is what we're doing. Everybody's like, like Jordan said, everybody's kind of, okay, that sounds fair, and then now it's not an issue.
Yeah.
So.
What else? Jordan, you wanted to touch, I think, on, we got some big Diageo news this week, right? Well, less big than we thought it was originally, because I think originally people thought that Diageo was closing the Open Gate entity.
Right,
in Baltimore, and that's not what's happening.
No, they're just shutting down their production brewery.
Which was pretty small. I mean...
Yeah, and it's easy to see why it got mixed up, because they both sit on the same property. But Diageo, it's important to note, I think, that Diageo had been in Relay, Maryland for 2 decades now. They bought an old plant from Seagram's and used that as a bottling operation for like over a decade. And then once, craft beer started to roll, they kind of got an itch to do some beer production for Guinness here in the States and then open gate brewery. But open gate breweries find like the destination hospitality side isn't going anywhere. That remains. It's the behind the scenes, all the equipment that I guess they weren't using.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Seagram's was using as a bottling plant like 1925. I mean, if you've ever been in there, there's cobwebs. It's an old plant. I'm sure their equipment's fine, but honestly, Diageo could have just done it, not even told anybody, and nobody would have known or cared,
Well,
except for the job losses. But
I defile that. Yeah.
You always got to be careful with those.
Oh yeah, we've been bitten by those before.
But I think it just goes to show that, what is a brand largely built on imports doing with a production facility, a beer production facility here in the U.S. We got another reminder of that a couple weeks ago with Constellation in Daleville, which I'll raise my hand. I had
no idea where it is.
They kind of moved it into an R&D facility, but a U.S. production facility.
Is that like an old ballast point?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We haven't talked about this yet, but I think that's kind of a big deal because it seems like a very friendly deal to me because it's the largest, fastest growing supplier selling assets to the next largest, fastest growing supplier. And we've seen in the day where, some breweries, they closed down a facility and sold it for scrap metal, then give it to their competitors.
Right.
And Sapporo had to buy a whole entire craft brewing to get capacity in the U.S.
Yeah.
And New Belgium. So I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall in those negotiations because it just seems
interesting, for sure.
A very, very fast growing supplier seems a little strange.
Because it's a multi-year deal for New Belgium to co-pack for Constellation. And what they told us was, on background, that they have the opportunity and the option to produce new innovation for Constellation as well. So that, to your point, Jordan, it seems like there would be some, closely guarded trade secrets and R&D passing back and forth there. But, they're businesses. So there's stuff.
Just beer.
There's stuff to guardrail that. But still, that's interesting.
Yeah. It also just may be a way to clean up their balance sheet a little bit. Why there's no reason to have that brewery on their books, and anything they can sell that they're not really using just makes their current assets more valuable. And they have a giant hole in the ground in Mexico that they had to abandon for like $1 billion. So you got to kind of bite away at that to recoup some of that back. I know it's a small price
thing
tag
for them.
Yeah. But they don't need the capacity, but you're right, Jordan. They're just letting capacity go, and that's always a leg up, and it's a downward pressure on pricing ultimately.
Yeah, captive capacity. But I'm surprised at helping a competitor, but Ballast Point is the source of athletics growth,
June shine. Yep.
New Belgium's growth. So
wow,
they have fed on
the carcass of
Ballast
Point. Thank you.
Wow, that is such a great point. But where one brewery dies, it is like feeding on a carcass makes you stronger, and capacity it's not easy to build. It's expensive to maintain, but it's once it's there, you got to fill it up, right?
No, I just wanted to bounce it off y'all because it wasn't long ago that I think it was Molson Coors where their Eden facility in North Carolina, they closed that, sold it off to China for scrap metal.
Yeah.
Before they let Pabst have it.
Yeah. Sorry, Jordan. Harry's weird cameras have detonated themselves. So I don't know what's going on. So Harry, all right, you start us off with the next topic.
Let's go straight into politics and talk about Bud Lights.
Yeah.
So I have a hot take on this. When it was first revealed,
Sunday maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's when I saw it online.
Yeah,
people were starting to chatter about it. Hiring a transgender activist for Bud Light during March Madness, and Twitter went a little bit crazy. And I think the kind of the narrative at the time was like, why would AB wade into the culture wars with their biggest brand?
Yeah.
You know, and of course, there's now you've got Kid Rock out here shooting cans of Bud Light with a shotgun.
Ridiculous.
You know, so I think probably AB didn't expect it to stay in the news cycle that extra day with Kid Rock. We'll see if it goes anywhere. The bottom line is that these boycotts rarely work. They never last. I mean, look at Kaepernick and Nike. I mean, does anybody care about that anymore?
No.
And but bottom line is you may have entered the consideration set of some Gen Zs that they wouldn't even ever consider touching a Bud Light before now. And now they're, oh, well, Bud Light, it's pretty cool. So I see it as a win.
And depletions might have gone up with Kid Rock.
I mean, you're right. All the drain pouring that we're seeing online of Bud Lights, they're going to have to replace it. Right?
Well, you got to buy them to drain pour them, right? Like, yeah, that's hilarious. Do you know? I don't know if you saw this, Harry, and I don't know if you saw this, Jordan, but somebody left a comment on like one of our first YouTube podcasts in the last like week. They were like mad enough to leave a mad comment about I hate Bud Light and I was a Bud Light drinker for 40 years.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, this is
Bud Light drinker for 40 years and they spelled Bud Light with an E.
Can you imagine the wine and spirits industry reacting to something like this way, or wine and spirits consumers reacting to something this way? And here Spirits is eating our lunch. And
that is a good point. Like when we have our wine and spirits summit, somebody had shown that slide as their marketing plan, nobody would have batted an eye. And there is a difference in culture, I guess. But you're right that they're eating our lunch and
we're throwing our arms up over this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it wasn't really clear if it was a real partnership or it seemed like they had just kind of sent her a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Then she posted it. She has a huge following. And then it just kind of exploded from there because Bud Light, they do all these little one-off cans and
marketing agency said, pick 20 influencers in these categories. And, if it lasts another like 2 news cycles, then maybe it's a problem. But with Trump being indicted and all this, I doubt it. I think they'll get drowned out, don't you?
Well, I don't know. The Trump comparison is a little dicey because this is like the same fueling of the fire.
Any other topics that I'm missing?
I'm just going to add in real quick. Y'all know that poor judge that was on the Constellation Modelo
Kaplan?
case for the Trump indictment.
So he's now going to get pictures of his family on social.
I mean, he had to sit through a month of whether this is a beer or not. And now he has the Trump indictment. I mean, they don't pay. I don't know what they pay that motherfucker, but it's not enough, right?
Karma. Maybe he's a very nice man, and he'll come back as I don't know, Taylor Swift. I don't know. Yeah. Are you going to the Swiftie concert, Harry?
No, I won the lottery to buy tickets to Rogan here tonight, and then I didn't pay for it in time, and I lost my tickets.
Did you realize before you came up that you didn't have that ticket, or is that why you came up here?
No, I bought it when I already knew I was coming.
Oh,
because I had this lunch scheduled for a while, but and then Happy Dad, it would all kind of work together, and I was like, oh my god, I wanted to go to the new Mothership comedy club that's like a block from here.
Oh, cool.
It was the old Ritz Theater on 6th.
Oh, cool. When did that open?
It opened I should know this. Jordan, 2 or 3 months ago.
Joe Rogan's?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Have you ever watched Kill Tony or any of that?
Mm-mm.
Do you know what YouTube is? It's a new website.
YouTube?
Yeah, you put you on the 2. It's really cool.
Put you on the 2.
You should check it out, Jordan. Yes, they filmed comedy. Many things you see on YouTube, they film here, right here in Austin, just a block of. What's funny is I did a little, I think it was a TikTok, like a year ago, walking down 6th Street, and I was like, oh, there's the old Ritz Theater. Why are they gutting it?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. This city. It's funny because when was it? So I went to obviously South by Southwest like 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure Jordan's like, why the hell haven't you written this up yet? But Athletic hosted like a get together on South Congress. Like cool people, Amy Jo Martin and Lance Armstrong and Darren Ravel.
Ravel is cool.
Well, people say,
Lance Armstrong was cool.
yeah, well, no, but the whole point of this,
Sounds like a this sounds like a
Who's
douche.
gonna ask too? Did Ferrari pick these people?
well, don't insult Fenari with Harry around. You know, Fenari is Harry's adoptive son. Like, but anyhow, I had not been down South Congress in a really long time, and there's an Hermes store there now, and like,
Chuggy.
no, of course we would use that word, but it just encapsulates like what's happened to Austin. Like in any other city, that wouldn't make a big deal or be a big deal, but the fact that there's an Hermes store on like one of the originally coolest streets in Austin is like it's viscerally, it's annoying.
They've Dallas-eyed it.
They
Dallas-eyed
totally
it.
have. And it's funny because it's shown up everywhere. Like this one store is the source of people's rage in Austin. It's shown up in Texas Monthly stories. But I had that reaction on my own. It's really funny.
You're
But
such a hippie.
no, but Austin has just changed so freaking much. Everybody's always coming to Austin now because it's Austin.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I'm here.
Harry, this air turned on and it's like right in front of me and I am freezing.
But you know what? That's a good cue to wrap this up. Jordan, thank you for holding down the HQ. Thank you for guarding the parakeet and the printer. I will be back in Bear County tomorrow by noon if you need me for any reason. And we'll just regroup, as they say, for the weekend. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I think we have a pod with Scout tomorrow, but we'll see.
Oh, that's
See
right.
if that happens or not. I got to touch base with him. So
So we'll wrap it up here and wanted to wish you guys a happy weekend if I don't see you again.
mhm.
And
Happy Easter, happy Passover.
that's right.
Happy Easters. Yeah.
And you know what I haven't done since last Easter's?
You haven't had.
Not have diarrheas. All right, we're out.